All right, let's get going. So hi everyone, and welcome to today's event. We are going to be talking about how you can use Edulastic for history or social studies instruction. And this webinar is part of our fall teacher talk series, webinar series that centers around teachers sharing their experiences and tips for using digital assessment. So today we're focusing on social studies, and I will be your host. My name is Ileana Betancourt, and I work here at Edulastic. For the last 6 years, my job has been to help connect educators to great resources, and so I'm excited here today to be sharing about how you can use digital assessment in your classrooms or for whatever purpose you are looking to use it for. Before we do begin, I want to make a few housekeeping announcements. So please make sure that you have access to your chat window so you can communicate with everyone. You have the option right above where you enter text to change to share with everyone and the panelists. So make sure it's set to that because we want to make sure that you can share and learn with everyone, and you can have your questions posted there and answer them as well throughout the presentation. And what else? Let me look at my notes. Let's test out that chat. So if you could go ahead and enter where you're tuning in from today and what you're excited to learn about, that would be excellent. So go ahead and do that in the chat. And I'm just going to look over. I'm here with my colleague, Leslie Tyler at Edulastic. She's going to say hi. I don't know if you can be on. I'll turn this over. She's manning the chat. We'll be doing that together today. Hello from Ohio. I can't type right now because I'm in presentation mode. But I would say hello, I'm from Fremont. I'm in Fremont, California, tuning in today. And I'm excited to hear from our featured presenters and also from anyone else on how they're looking forward to using Edulastic with their social studies. We have New Jersey, we have 2 New Jerseys, awesome. Fremont, California, Henderson, Nevada, Toledo, Ohio. Couple Ohio's. Excellent. Great. So we have people on the West Coast, East Coast, in the middle. Excellent. Love it. Okay. And now let's find out a little bit more about everyone who's here today and start the poll. So Leslie, can you help me out with that poll? There it is. So we're just going to ask how familiar you are with Edulastic and what level you teach at. So this will help us get an idea of if you're brand new or if you're comfortable using Edulastic already so that we can tailor tonight's event for you. So again, thank you for spending this 45 minutes to an hour with us. And we really hope that we are able to make the most of your time and give you some value that you can bring back and apply to your class or whatever purposes you are looking for. So let's see. Oh, most people have already assigned an assessment. That's great. We have some people who are very comfortable. I'm just looking at the results over here. And then we have mostly middle school teachers and a couple elementary school and high school teachers that are tuning in. Awesome. If anyone wants to go ahead and also type in the chat what topic within social studies they teach, that'd be great to know as well. Cool. So since it looks like there's no one who's brand new, anyone who has particular tips of how they've been using Edulastic, we do want to hear from you too, because that could be useful insight and valuable information to anyone else who's on the chat. Okay. Awesome. Yes.
American history.
So I don't know if you guys heard that, but ancient civilizations, American history, US history, civics and economics, the whole gamut. Excellent. Okay. Oh, so here's our featured speaker today. I think I'm going to introduce, I'll introduce you now. Kyle Nielsen, and he teaches middle school social studies in Spanish. He's been doing that for 5 years in Henderson, Nevada, at Pinecrest Academy, Inspirata in Henderson, Nevada again. Before that, he was teaching high school in Utah, and he also is the school's technology lead teacher. So he's going to be speaking with us today. For any of those who saw the advertisement, there was another teacher who was going to join us, and he was unable to make it. But we have Emily Young, who's also going to chime in. So we're very grateful and excited for that. I want to go over some of Edulastic's TEIs. So everyone's pretty familiar with Edulastic, so that's great. You might have seen these technology enhanced items already in the assessment library. So when you go to make an assessment, you have the option to choose from over 30 question types. And some of those are classic question types that you may have seen many times before, such as multiple choice, multiple selection, text dropdown, essay type, text entry, true or false. They're ELA Tech Enhanced specific items, which you might also use for history. So classification, matching tables could be helpful. I know a lot of history teachers use drag and drop. Maybe you want to include some sort of historical passage, and in that case, passage-based is going to be a really helpful tool for you. Or matching or resequence if you want to see if students understand the order of when certain events happened, and maybe the order of the presidents could be helpful. Here, there are a lot on the Math Tech Enhanced that could be useful, so I circled them here. You might find classification helpful. You might find labeling an image if you want students to make sure students understand their geography or which states were in the 13 colonies. And then one of our newest technology enhanced items is the drawing response question type, which is exciting because it allows students to respond freehand. They can draw Christopher Columbus's trek over to the New World, or you can ask multiple questions. It's almost like the essay question type because it allows students to respond freely, except you're able to use the scratch pad, which allows students to draw, type, measure distances, all sorts of things. Within Edulastic, there are some technology enhanced items that are more popular among history teachers. And the most popular is multiple choice. That's actually across all subjects. It's a very classic, straightforward question type that's been used for many ages, so we're not surprised with that. Then there's the essay question, responding with an extended response. Multiple selection, which is very similar to multiple choice, is number 3, where you can choose more than one answer. And then true or false, which is very more popular in history than the other subjects. Matching is another popular one, and text entry. I think what's important to point out here is that if you are new to Edulastic or on the newer side, when you are getting started, there's no need to dive into all the intense, crazy question types. You can just start simple and move from there. I will say it's fun to use the more dynamic ones, so eventually you can move towards those. But until then, just stick with what's easy and work from there. Oh, and here, if you are in a state where you are trying to align your content for certain state standards, for example, this is Tennessee social studies, you can do that in Edulastic. You can tag each question to a certain standard so that you can make sure that you are covering all the different parts that you need to cover and check for student understanding there. And you can get very state specific. So here's an example of all the different types of categories. So if you're looking for content, you can search for any of these categories, or you can tag your content within any of these standards. And if you don't see that, we're able to upload your standards into Edulastic, so you can do that. One of the biggest perks of using Edulastic, which we hear constantly from teachers, is that immediate data and immediate feedback. If a student doesn't know a certain concept that you're trying to teach, you can find out right away and address those misconceptions. And this is what the mastery report looks like. And I can show this more in depth later, but I just want to give a quick view of that. And hopefully something that you see with digital assessment is that a lot of clutter will clear up, and you won't have to worry about missing papers or papers stacking up or a dog ate my homework. You also don't have to worry about squinting to see what students are writing, because it's all clean and it's right there in one spot. You can also save time grading and use that time that's saved for additional instruction, or to have more personal time if your time is being taken up grading. So lots of different perks. And now I'm going to pass it over to Kyle, who is going to go ahead and share his screen and share some of the ways that he is using Edulastic. Oh, well, we can't hear you yet. We're gonna unmute you. Oh, you unmuted yourself.
I can't seem to get my video up. Can you
Oh,
guys?
let's try that. Let's start video.
Here we go.
Okay, great. And I'm gonna show off my video. We see you. Hello.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be part of this seminar. Thank you, Ileana, for inviting me. I just wanted to share just a couple of things that I'm doing with Edulastic. I'll give you a little bit of background. The thing that really got me searching for a program that I could use was my principal was really encouraging us to start branching out into how we can prepare, even if for in social studies, I don't know for the rest of you, but in social studies for the state of Nevada, there's really no state standardized test for social studies. So he was just saying, how can we prepare our students for our state standardized test, which we call the SBAC. And so I was looking at some of the SBAC type questions and trying to see how I could get a little bit more complex, higher level, deeper knowledge thinking into my assessments. And I came across Edulastic and it's been perfect. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from as far as Edulastic. So let me just show you, I put together a little bit of a demo of just some of the different question types that I really like to use when I'm making an assessment. And I am trying to do a student view of this.
The preview button's right below the image. See it?
Oh, of course.
Right there.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So as Ileana mentioned, you know, we history teachers, we love multiple choice, mostly because grading is such a cinch. We don't have to do a whole lot of reading, and the computer, you know, can do it for us when we have a program like this. I also really like matching, and I love this drag and drop aspect of it, where we're able to just kind of move things around. But what I really like are some of the a little bit deeper level, more complex types of questions. So here we have a resequence, which was already mentioned. And what I really like to do, I don't just use Edulastic for assessment by itself. A lot of times I'll just do like a one-off, just a one question assessment that we'll do as a class, and we can talk through the strategy that you might think through how you might resequence something. What I found is students this isn't always as intuitive as we would think. I always have to tell students what happened first goes on top, what happened last goes on bottom. But just, I like to walk through as a class, walk through with the students like, okay, even if you don't know, even if you can't remember from my lecture or the reading, how could we, you know, figure this out? And so if you were to say, okay, well, Great Britain passed the Tea Act. Let's say that was first. Well, what would come next? Well, obviously the Sons of Liberty protest that. And then what happens? Well, the Intolerable Acts are made to punish the colonists for the Boston Tea Party. And so then the First Continental Congress meets to stop all trade until the Intolerable Acts are repealed. And so just using those context clues and talking them through how to resequence something based on just the text that they're encountering. This is a great geography. I'm a geography teacher, so this is a great geography question. You can just upload an image right here into the box and then just drop these labels wherever you want them. And then students can drag and drop these wherever they want to. So this is just really ideal for maps, but also for, I have another one here further on. Let me get to it actually. Here we are in my geography class talking about the people of the Mayan Highland community and labeling this picture right out of their textbook of different aspects of traditional Mayan culture. So it's really great. It's really quite flexible and simple to use. Uploading the image can be a little tricky, just saving it correctly. But once you get it uploaded, it's really quite a snap to put those labels where you want them. Maybe my favorite, and even though I'm not an ELA teacher, is to throw just a little bit of an ELA twist in there for them. This is a sentence editing question where, because I really insist that my students can write well. So they have to pick the right form of the word there. So this is just really, I'm just kind of an ELA nerd, so I really like that. And then of course you've just got your text, your essay response, describing what happened in an image. I can upload an image. This is really, this passage-based one is really what sold me on Edulastic, was that I can put a passage in here and then have an essay question, a multiple choice question, just add any kind of question along with that reading, which is just really, I mean, this is exactly how the state standardized tests look when they have to take an ELA or a science type of a test. And then this is really one of my favorites, especially for cause and effect, helping students just categorize things. I think that being able to physically move something from one part of the screen to another really helps students. It helps it just kind of cement in their minds what's going on. So this is just a really great cause and effect activity here where they can. I always like to try to show them how many things I'm looking for. So that I'm looking for 2 causes, 1 effect, and 1 description. So there you go, Shays Rebellion. Same thing, executive, judicial, legislative branches. If you're doing a civics lesson, this is a great, just kind of a way to just physically help them categorize what ideas go where. Which is just a lot better than just that multiple choice. Let's just, memorize the answer kind of a thing that we all love to rely on. One other thing that I really enjoy about Edulastic is as my students are taking the test in class, I can actually see their progress here in real time, which just really helps me get an idea of how fast they're going, who's struggling, who's not. Did somebody finish too fast? And then I know right away when my whole class is done, I can move on to the next activity without having to do the embarrassing, like, okay, who's still working? Raise your hand. Uh-oh, there go my lights. Sorry about this.
No problem. This happened yesterday when we were getting ready for the webinar.
Yeah, I've been holding too still.
We can still see you. We just can't see your cool superhero poster.
I guess as long as you can see my screen, that's all that really matters.
That's true. Sounds good.
So anyway, those are some of my just kind of highlights for me. I like to see different types of questions that are going to cause my students to just have to think a little more strategically, a little bit more skill-based, and not just that rote memorization that we sometimes fall in the trap of doing. I really like that I'm able to search in a bank of questions that have already exist. Sometimes it feels like we social studies teachers don't always get as much love as the other subjects, and so it's not always easy to find subjects for every specific thing we're looking for, but writing a new one is pretty easy as well. Yeah, that's about all I have. Does anyone have any questions for me? Or I don't see the chat box anymore.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to enter them in the chat. Or if you don't right now, we can answer them later, but now is a good time as well. I think that was a really great overview, and I liked your comment about how physically moving the answers during the drag and drop adds on a bit more of a hands-on aspect and makes students make that intentional decision on what they want to respond to. Oh, do you share do you share your assessments within your school, or what sharing level do you usually use when you're creating assessments?
I'm kind of the lone wolf right now when it comes to social studies. I'm the only 7th and 8th grade social studies teacher. We have a 6th grade social studies teacher as well. We're a brand new, a couple of years old charter school. So I don't have a lot of opportunity for sharing. And my colleagues, I'm kind of the technology cheerleader at my school. So I'm sparing in the kind of things I share, because my colleagues get a little bit overwhelmed by all the fun toys that I'm always trying to kind of shove down their throats and get them to do. For me, I really think that if technology is not making your life easier, you don't have the right tools or you're doing it wrong. And just like was said before, sometimes it feels like we have to dive right in to everything. And so I try to really just kind of put out those breadcrumbs and like feed them step by step. Because if it's not making your life easier, you can get quickly turned off by technology, I think, in the classroom.
Right. And I have one more question, and then there is a question in the chat. So how did you come across Edulastic, and how did you decide it would be a good fit for what you were looking for?
Yeah, I can't even remember. I want to say I just did like a Google search of different assessment programs that would have just more. I've done lots of things. We use Canvas at my school as sort of our learning management system. I've done Google Forms. I've done lots of different assessment programs that cover the basics really well, the multiple choice and that kind of thing. But really, after taking a look at some of the state standardized testing and what those questions look like and the depth of sort of the complexity a little bit that goes into that, I really wanted to find something that could do that. And I really think I just went and started searching around and saw Edulastic and saw some demos of it, and decided to give it a try. And yeah, I've been pretty happy with it so far.
Cool. That's great. It worked out. Okay. So Heather is wondering, do you ever worry about your students cheating since they have computers during a test?
Yes, I do. I worry about that all the time. What I really like about Edulastic is it is linked. It allows me to link to Google Classroom, which also Google Classroom, I don't know if you know, I don't want to plug another product or anything.
No, go ahead. We sync with it. We're happy for you to share great products as well.
Yeah, there's a program called NetOp, NETOP, that you're able to, once they join your Google Classroom, you're able to view their screens. And so I can actually have them, make that go active. It tells the student right away, someone is watching your screen. It won't let them move on until they click acknowledge. They can't, it kind of locks up their screen. Now,
wow.
I don't know if this works with all computers. We use Chromebook devices. And so I don't know if NetOp works with other computers, but I know there are other programs out there. And so usually that's enough, just them knowing that I have that program up, even if I'm not looking at it, but also just, circulating through the room. It's one of those things with technology there, the opportunity for them to cheat is out there, and yet this is the world we live in. We've got to let them try, let them do it, and deal with it as it comes. So
cool. That sounds like a great resource. I'm glad that you mentioned it, because now we can share that with other teachers as well.
Kiosk mode is
The other option is kiosk mode. It looks like Maria, who's in the attendee list, uses it. You can use that with Chromebooks. And then I don't know if anyone here has the premium, or if their school or district has the enterprise version of Edulastic, but that allows you to have other options such as shuffle questions or shuffle distractors now. And there are safe exam browser options that are coming currently or soon.
Yeah, that's the other thing I really love, is that I can shuffle my questions. And so the kid, two kids sitting next to each other are not looking at the same question at the same time.
Yeah, so that's great. That's great for your assessments. If they're not ordered in a particular way, you can just go ahead and use that if you have Edulastic Premium.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, any other questions right now? Cool, I think we'll move along and then we'll come back at the end if there are any additional questions. Thank you, Kyle. This was great.
Thank you.
Really awesome information.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to take back the screen. And then I wanted to ask Emily if she wants to share any insight as a social studies teacher in Ohio. So.
Hi, everybody. I'm joining you from my bedroom in Ohio. It's about 8:30. So I'm not at school anymore, obviously. And I just kind of asked to help. I use Edulastic in my social studies classroom. What I've found helpful from it is in Ohio we have a teacher evaluation system, and this year we've taken away the Ohio test, but I still have to have some kind of formal assessment for my students of their knowledge of what I've taught them this year. So I was able to do my beginning student learning objective pre-test, Edulastic, and then I can graph throughout the year as my students have met and mastered those standards, and I have that data. I also have with my mates. At my school, we're still considered pre-K through 6.
Sorry to interrupt you for a second, but it's a little tricky to hear you. I wonder if it's your internet connection or maybe the video is taking up too much bandwidth. We could turn off the video to try that. It started breaking up near the end. Does it look like your connection's good from your end?
When you guys were speaking, it would kind of pause every once in a while, but
oh, okay. We might try turning off your video because that might make it able to focus on the audio better. So let's try that.
Okay. Is it better now? Can everyone hear me?
I think that's a lot better, actually. Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Continue on.
Great. You don't have to see my hours after school look. My glasses and, all that fun stuff.
You look very relaxed.
Oh,
Isn't that what webinars are for? You can get in your PJs and relax.
Right? I'm like, do not let my children come in the room. I'm going to do a webinar.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'm not sure how much everyone heard, but basically what I was saying was it's really great for me just having that year-long record of data students with mastery on the different standards that I'm teaching, because Ohio is one of the states that it's linked to with. So it makes it really easy when I meet with my principals or parents to just pull that up, and even the students' records. They're really excited that they go in and watch their mastery as it grows from, like I said, they take the pre-test, not the very first week of school, but the second week of school before any instruction has kind of taken place, and it just, grows throughout the year. I really like it, having that instant feedback, except for the class or with the extended response or fill in the blank, those kinds of things. I have gotten my teammates. I work with 3 other ladies that teach science and language arts, and I've gotten them on board, and they've related the data component as well. RTI meetings, our special ed teacher, intervention specialist, she can notifications if we share the assessment at a school district level with her students as well. I'm trying to think about what else there is that I do. I actually came to find out about Edulastic through one of our county, what is it called? ESCs. They were doing a depth of knowledge training, and Edulastic was just one of the things that they talked about. And at the time, I was teaching third grade language arts. And in Ohio, third grade, we have a third grade year, and students don't score proficient or above that they are retained. So I knew right away I needed to do what I was doing with my instruction and my assessment, so I could get my students ready for that statewide test and have them be prepared. And then last year I transferred to sixth grade social studies, and I brought Edulastic with me. And I just really love the program. I use it almost always for my assessments. So we try to really work together with my team so that everybody has a chance to use it for assessments too. I don't, if anybody has any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer. I don't know presentation or anything I typically would, but feel free to ask questions.
Yeah, thank you. That was really great. And again, really interesting to hear that DOK connection there. Where do you get your questions that you use in your social studies classes?
I personally I go through, I like Kyle, also appreciate the database of all the questions that are already there. We do have old state assessments that I get my questions from. Sometimes it's just from my instruction. I go through and see what I've taught and look at if I can change it to make it, if it's just on a very basic depth of knowledge type of question, if I could kick it up to make them do a little bit of critical thinking. The drag and drop, like Kyle said, is excellent for geography. Sometimes, I don't know, I'm a very animated person. I don't know if that goes with teaching first grade for 13 years, and then now I'm kind of almost on the brink of middle schoolers. I still have that little bit of, like, let's have some fun. When I do types of government, I dress up. Like one day I was a queen, one day I was a dictator, just try to make it as hands-on and have them experience it, excuse me, as I can, so that it makes a impact. But yeah, the geography is one of those that they're not really excited about. They're like, oh, we have to learn about this. So involving that kind of, not where you can be hands-on, but they can drag and drop and experiment with the different concepts, different geographic features, bodies of water, different things like that, I think has helped my sixth graders have a little bit more excitement for learning that kind of standards.
Great, thank you. We have a question in the chat. How often is Edulastic used to assess students? So maybe that's a question that you or Kyle could answer, how often you're using it.
Yeah, here it's Kyle again. I use it quite often for my unit assessments, every 3 or 4 weeks or so. But I also love to just use it, like I mentioned before, not necessarily as an assessment, but just as a quick check for understanding, or even a talk out session with the class as a whole. So I use it quite often.
Great, thank you. And I also know that teachers sometimes use it on a weekly basis for end of the week checks. Some people use it for exit tickets, and sometimes it's just for checking for understanding and not for the grade. Sometimes it is for the grade, sometimes it is getting ready for summative assessments. Another question from Kenneth, what question types do you often use? And I'll let you, Kyle, or answer that. Kyle or Emily, want to answer that?
Yeah, I like to, I would say I still probably use mostly multiple choice, but I really like to pepper in those other questions, those classification questions with the drag and drop options. That's probably my favorite.
Great, thank
I
you.
would say,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry. I would say multiple choice, extended response are probably my two top that I use. Just like Kyle said, drag and drop, depending on what the topic is. Right now I'm doing ordering on a timeline, so that's kind of drag and drop, but it's, you can put the image in there and it's kind of classifying, but not exactly as in sorting, but still making them find the answer and put it in the correct position.
Great, thank you. Some other good questions coming in. Thanks, everyone. So other question is, has anyone used the drawing tool in conjunction with the maps yet? And the drawing tool is new, so that might not be something you've gotten to yet.
I haven't used it yet.
Okay, and Kyle hasn't yet, but you're eager to try it out. In our science webinar the other day, we had a science teacher who was showing all these different ways that he was using it, which is exciting because you can add different steps. So yeah, Maria, if you end up using it, let us know how you find it. And then another question, do you find your Edulastic tests take longer or shorter than a hard copy test? That's from Heather.
I guess I just have a question about that question. Do you mean for a teacher to make, or a student to take, or a teacher to grade?
Good clarifying questions.
For students
Students to take.
Yeah. It seems pretty comparable for me. About the same, maybe a little faster.
Sixth graders do not take as long on the Edulastic than a paper. It's obviously shorter for me to grade. There's another question that says, when using extended response, how long does it take to evaluate the students' answers? I have about 100 students. I see 4 blocks of 6th graders. You wouldn't think that it would. Well, I guess I'm comparing it to pencil, where I'd have to grade every single question. I can, as soon as one student stops and submits their test, I can go ahead, click at the top where it's unanswered questions and go through really quickly. So I haven't really sat and figured out how many minutes it takes, but it's definitely quicker than grading a whole paper pencil test.
Mm-hmm. And what's great about it as well is that you don't have to, with a paper and pencil test, like she said, you have to, let's say I had one extended response question in my assessment, I'd have to shift through each test. With Edulastic, I can click on that question, and then it will just let me zip through each student's answer to that one question, which makes grading pretty quick and easy. Did that make sense the way I said that?
Mm-hmm.
Did that make sense?
Okay, and then looks like Maria's tried the drawing response. It's new, so if you have great experience with it, let us know. If you're running into any issues, also let us know. We can clear out those bugs. And then, has anyone here used or heard of SnapQuiz yet? Because I was thinking of going through and just showing you quickly how you can upload a document and add widgets to make it auto-gradable.
No, but I'm very interested in that.
Okay, sounds good. I'll take that as a go-ahead to show you all how it's done. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. I'm currently sharing. Let's see. Stop share. Share screen. And part of SnapQuiz is to allow you to easily upload assessments. So I think everyone should be able to see this window. So what I did was I went ahead to the Ohio Department of Education and pulled down their fourth grade social studies practice tests. So I already have that on my desktop. I'm going to upload that into Edulastic quickly so we can see how you can add widgets to it. So I'm going over to the assessment library, going to create an assessment, and then I'm going to create that assessment from a PDF. So we'll go ahead and upload it. So desktop. Now it's loading. And what this will allow me to do is it'll allow me to see the different pages of this PDF and add the different question types on as widgets so that students can answer them and get either immediate feedback or I will be able to save time grading and see if there's immediate results and check for student understanding. So it's just like the way that the other Edulastic assessments work. However, it's doc-based. And probably what I would do if I were actually giving students is take out the first couple pages. Let's see. Or maybe that's good to have. Okay, so here's a multiple choice question. So what I would do is I would click this multiple choice widget and put it over here next to maybe this question. And let's see, we'll zoom in a little bit. Oops, there we go. So I'm going to put that there. The options are A, B, C, or D. I'm going to click the right answer. We'll just say C. And that'll be there. Okay, and then we'll go on to the part B. Can add multiple choice there. Options A, B, C. Oh, I have to click an option. And if the options for some reason are different, I can change it right here. I can add A, B, C, D, E, F if I want. And that gets added right in. If I want to include a different type of widget, so here's an essay question. I can click the essay, put that on here, give them a minimum line height, and change the amount of points. If I want it to be 3 points, I'll change it there. Accept. And there we have the essay, and you can go on. And there are a few different question types you can use for this. So you can use multiple choice, multiple selection, text entry, numeric, essay, expression evaluator. And up here, we'll have different options. You can add text. So if I wanted to say, hint, think about what we learned. I can add that there. I can add images if I want. I can add video, can highlight different things or circle different things. So you can annotate the whole document. Oops, or erase things. Okay, let's undo that. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Let's review that. So we can look at the answer guide here. Can change the difficulty, select D-OK. Maybe this is recall, this is skill concept, and this is extended thinking. We're asking them to construct their response. We can connect it to standards. You can view it as a student. So this is what the student sees. And it immediately takes the student to that first question. So I'll answer that, okay. Takes me immediately to the second question. And then I can put my answer here. They can even add images here. Okay. If I want to review the answers, I can. If I want to go back to certain questions, I can. And then I can submit that. And then I can see immediately what I got right, what I got wrong. And this means it has to be manually graded. So that's a quick overview of our new exciting feature, SnapQuiz. Oh yeah, the data goes into a live class view just like it does for the other classes. So you get that mastery report. Let's close out of here. I can't click the exit button because the Zoom webinar is in the way. Oh, here we go. Okay. So again, here's what that mastery report looks like. And this is a made-up class, so these students are not real. Otherwise, I would hide them. So you can see here for this assessment, I need to grade this one. We need to review question 4 because a lot of students got it wrong. And maybe I need to rethink how I teach this, this topic here. Or if I want to ask students to retake the test, either because I want to give them a second chance or because they're absent, I can use redirect to send it to them. I already redirected it to myself, so I'll redirect it here. Okay. That's a quick overview of how that works. Any questions? Looks like there's some good conversation happening in the chat.
So we had a question. Oh, to show how how you can grade one. Do you have the manually graded question right on here?
Where is it?
The question is how Kyle talked about grading constructed response.
Mm-hmm.
You just click on the bar and you look at
Oh,
all of that. So you can
okay.
see them.
So yeah, so earlier Kyle was talking about grading the open response. This is what it looks like. Okay, I'm looking at Heather's question. Is it possible to show how to click through all the students' answers in one particular question? Yes, okay. So let's go back here actually. So in this view, I can just look at question 4. So let's look at question 4. It's asking, this is a math question, it's asking about looking at this plot here, and I can see what students answered. Apparently the student did not answer the question. The student got it right, and I can just go through little by little and see the answers that the students gave. So if I need to see the correct answer, I can see that. If I want to comment and say something, remember the interquartile range, blah, blah, blah. I can save that, and the student will get that response when they go to look at the answer in their profile. If I need to change a score for whatever reason, I can do that here. So maybe I want to end up giving her full credit. So I can do that. That allows you to quickly go through and respond to one question at a time. Does that answer your question, Heather? And then I can go through, and if I just want to look at all the questions that were answered incorrectly, I can see really quickly up here which students answered incorrectly or correctly, and go address those incorrect answers. And then back up at the top, I can see how long it took for students to answer that question. So this blue line indicates the amount of time it took for each question. Leslie, if there are other questions I should answer live, let me know. I'm going to just keep talking about this a little longer.
One other thing.
Yep.
When you get done.
Okay. And then I can go back to the questions this way and maybe go over to question 9, take a look at that one. I can also browse through the questions in this drop-down menu right here, which is another quick way to do it. And it looks like this student skipped the question for some reason. So again, you can kind of look at that quickly, go through all those questions, go down one by one. Okay. Oh, how do you insert an image? Okay, so let's go, I'll turn on my video again. So let's go ahead and head into to create an assessment. Inserting an image is very simple in Edulastic. All you have to do is use the text editor to add your image. So let me create an assessment from scratch. History, skills, check. I will author a new question. Let's do the drawing response for fun, because we were talking about that earlier. There it is. And when you're in the question bank, if you don't know how to do a certain question, you can just click on that question mark and a little video will pop up to describe how to use that question. Each video is about 1 minute and allows you to get a great overview. So really handy there. So let's click on drawing response and answer the question. So see this text editor? This is going to be your friend when you're creating questions. I will click on this insert image icon right here. Select files. Let's see. Let's insert the graphic for this webinar. I guess right here. Here we go. We'll insert this one. And so it uploads, and then it'll appear right there. And so let's put that on its own line. And then I can say task 1, circle the column. Task 2, you can take this any way you want, kind of making things up. Name the first 3 presidents in order under the image. Okay. Give some more space down there. So some other features of the text editor, we have a great post on it that we can share with you as well. You can make new paragraphs, make things bold, italic, slash through bullets, numbered bullet list, indent. You can also, a new feature, you can also add Spanish. So a little Spanish editor pops up if you want to teach Spanish history. And then when I'm ready here, let's see. Oh, you can also add video. So if I wanted to add something from YouTube, I can grab that embed code and add it right here, which is great if you have some sort of historic clip that you want to add in. It's also really an engaging feature. So I really love the add multimedia because it allows you to do so much more with each question type. Okay, so do what you want to do there. And then we can just go ahead and preview question. This is what it looks like. And again, Leslie, let me know if anyone's having any other questions. I'm not looking at the chat right now. So this will give you an idea of what the student sees. So when they get here, they're going to see the whole scratch pad layout here. You can use any of the features here. You can, so it says circle the column. Let's circle the column. And then name the first 3 presidents in order under the image. Okay, so I guess I can add George Washington, John Adams.
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas, thank you.
James K.
Leslie is a president whiz. She would win at this question. And I also, if I ever go to trivia, I would bring her along because she would know all the answers. Okay, great. And then I think I answered that well. I can change font a little bit if I want. Some basic switches there. I can add a triangle here or a square. Oh, here we go. The triangle went there. I can use rulers, protractors, measure distances. Anyway, I think the draw tool is pretty much that. Or I can edit here as well. And then I'll click submit. Okay. And that's what the student sees. So again, the text editor, really fun tool, can step up the engagement of your questions. And there are some really great ways to make it pretty. I saw some pretty pictures in Kyle's assessments. There's a really nice map that he included. So that was cool to see. So here's an example of once you have that image, you can use drag and drop over it. These are some things that we saw from Kyle's demo earlier. I'm just going to pull these in here so you can see, just kind of throwing things in there. Multiple choice, more drag and drop. There's a lot of drag and drop in here. Let's see what other questions. I wanted to show you question 12. Graph plotter, so if I want to plot places on the map, put that on there. And then let's see, let's go to 29. There was a, this is a matching tables question. Oh, great. Glad to see. And then you already saw the resequence. We'll just look at that one more time. So again, here you go. And what I liked about what Kyle was showing earlier is that you can create questions like this that students can work through. So if they're thinking logically about how something would be ordered, I think here it kind of, yeah, it gives away the answer in a sense because it has the dates on there. But you don't have, you can just make sure that students are thinking about the content and able to piece together where different parts of history belong. Okay. I'm currently in a premium account.
So can you show how to hide the answers from students?
Oh, sure. Let me show you how to hide the answers from students. Okay. This is a premium feature. Okay, so let me go back to assignments. And I'm just going to go to one that I did already assign. It isn't closed yet, so I can change, but I can release scores or not release them. So right now I turned off release scores and students will not be able to see how they did or the answers. I can also, do we go to a fresh assessment? I'll go to a fresh assessment and show you there. My assessments. Okay, let's see, we'll go to ancient Greece. And we'll assign. I hope my students are excited to learn about ancient Greece. Let's see. I hope my math students are excited to learn about ancient Greece. All right, success. Oh, I didn't adjust the settings. Let me do that again. I was really eager to share the assessment there. Okay, we'll just do first colonies test. All right, assign. All right, here's where I got to slow down and go to the advanced options. So here, and this is a premium feature. You will have some of these options in your free account. And again, also, if you are new to Edulastic using a free account, there are also a lot of great features you can use to get started. But if you want to go that next step, you'll have more assessment power. So you can decide to release scores or not release scores here. You can decide whether students will be able to see the questions or not here. And then I had mentioned earlier about shuffling questions and answers. That is right down here. And the option to shuffle answer choices is brand new. So we hope that those of you who have Edulastic Premium or Enterprise enjoy that new option. Okay, great. And then we need to choose that class and the students and assign. And I can go back and share that later. Okay, So students will be able to see their score and how they did, but they won't be able to drill down on the answers. So that's great if you want to help prevent cheating in certain cases, or you want to wait until later to go over those answers with students. Okay, and let's bring this back. And yeah, I think we've hit the end of the hour. So if anyone has any follow-up questions, either quickly put them in the chat, or you can email me at ileana@edulastic.com. I'll put that in the chat as well. Let me go to switch my screen share. Because I want to encourage everyone to connect with us online. We're going to share today's webinar on YouTube so that you can visit it later, or you can share it with your contacts later. Here it is, Google Chrome. Let me share. Here we go. Can you see? Okay, you can see the presentation again. Yeah, so to wrap things up, thank you again for everyone here for joining us today, spending your evening with us. Hopefully you had a wonderful time and learned a lot. I know we had a lot of excellent questions today, so thank you to everyone who asked wonderful questions. Thank you so much to our presenters today, to Emily and to Kyle. Really appreciate you both joining us. Emily, thanks for joining us last minute as well. That was really great. And both of your insights, I think, were really helpful for everyone who was on the webinar today. So again, thank you so much. We're going to send you a follow-up. We hope you enjoy using Edulastic. And if you have any other questions, reach out to us. Join the conversation online. We have a great Facebook group as well. We can continue to post comments or connect with other people in the Edulastic community. So again, we hope everything goes well with your social studies instruction this year, and thanks from California.